I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make strawberry cheesecake ice cream, and this is what it looks like. This ice cream is made with a custard base, so it is wonderfully smooth and creamy. We're adding cream cheese, so it tastes like cheesecake. And then for that delicious strawberry flavor, we're adding both fresh and freeze-dried strawberries. So, you're going to love this one. To start, for the custard, you will need a saucepan, and you will need 2 cups, which is 480 milliliters or grams. I'm using half and half cream here. Now, half and half cream is, as it says, it's half milk, half cream. Some people say they can't find it. If you can't, then just use 1 cup of a whole milk and 1 cup of light cream, so it's the same thing. Now, we are going to heat this up to the scalding point, which means it starts to bubble and it will just start to foam up. But before I do that, I want to start mixing the other ingredients. To start, cream cheese. 4 ounces, 115 grams of cream cheese. Use the full fat, no light or reduced fat here, and have it at room temperature, nice and soft. And what I'm going to do, now I'm going to just mix it together by hand. If you have a hand mixer, you could use that. First, just kind of smooth out your cream cheese. That's why you want it at room temperature to start. So that, and then I'm going to add 2/3 of a cup, 135 grams of granulated white sugar. Let's mix that in. And then you will also need 3 large, which is about 52 grams of egg yolks. If you have a scale, weigh your ingredients. You're more accurate if you weigh, and especially, I'm finding for the egg yolks, you want fairly large ones like this. But, I'm finding when I separate my eggs, the egg yolks can be different sizes. So, weigh if you can. Okay. So, I'm going to add that right in there. And then I'm going to use a wire whisk, and I'm going to whisk this just until it's all mixed together and it's a little light. So, got that going. I'm going to put my cream over medium-high heat. Like I said, watch it carefully. You will start to see bubbles around the outside, and just when it starts to foam up, you got to catch it. Take it off the heat. So that's going to, a couple minutes. Okay, so it's starting to foam. Take it off the heat very quickly because it can overflow fast. So this is what your mixture should look like. So now we're going to add that hot cream into our egg yolk mixture. You don't want to do it all at once. You want to do it at first gradually to temper it so they both end up at the same temperature. And whisk constantly, especially at the beginning. I'm just going to add a little and just whisk it in. And then start adding the rest. If you found, you got some lumps when you did this, just strain your mixture. So, essentially, that's our custard. Now we're going to have to cook it a little over a saucepan of simmering water. So make sure you use a heat-proof bowl. I'm using stainless steel. You could use something else. So I have my saucepan, simmering water. I only have 1 burner, so I'm going to have to bring that up to a simmer. So we will be right back. Okay, so now I've got my saucepan, simmering water. Just turn that down. Now what we're going to do is put our custard over our simmering water, and then you want to stir this constantly. Now you can do that. I've got a heat-proof spatula, or you could use a wooden spoon for this. And what we're going to do is cook this until it reaches 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 77 degrees Celsius. Really, the best way, or the easiest way, I should say, is to use either, you can have a digital thermometer like this with a probe, my favorite, or you could just use a mercury thermometer. And we're going to cook this to what it really is. It coats the back of a wooden spoon. So that is at about 170 Fahrenheit, 77 Celsius. Won't take that long, so just put your probe, but keep stirring. Okay, so we are at temperature, so take it off the heat. Just keep stirring it for a bit, because it keeps cooking even once you take it off the heat. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract for flavoring. So essentially, that is our custard base. Now we have to work on the strawberries. So let's move that out of the way and take my pot off the heat. These handles are hot. And for our strawberries, you will need a saucepan, and you will need a half a pound, 225 grams of fresh strawberries. And always wash your strawberries, pick through them, any soft ones, get rid of them, take off the stems, and then just kind of chop them like I have here. And then just put it right in your saucepan, because we're going to make a strawberry sauce. I'm going to sweeten the strawberries with 1/4 cup, 50 grams of granulated white sugar. And we're going to cook this over medium heat. The reason I'm doing the strawberry sauce, you might say, well, why not just put the whole strawberries, the whole strawberries right into the custard base? But the problem is, if you freeze just the strawberries, they get really hard and really kind of icy, and I don't like that. So that's why I'm making the strawberry sauce first, and then you won't find that. You'll get all the flavor, but you won't get these hard chunks of frozen strawberries. So what you want to do is cook this. Once it comes up to a boil, then kind of put it down to a simmer. And we're going to cook the strawberries probably, 8-10 minutes. You want them to release their juices, and then for those juices to become nice and thick, and then the strawberries will break down and become nice and soft. So that's going to take, let's say, 8-10 minutes, depending on the level of heat you have it. Hey, that looks good. It just smells wonderful in here, like strawberries. So I'm going to take this off the heat. And then I still have, I'll just show you, I still have some chunks. They're really soft, but I have some chunks of strawberries. So what I'm going to do is just mash them a little. You could use a potato masher, or you could just use a fork. And just they're really soft, so you only have to do it for a second. And then I'll pour this in a bowl so you can see what it looks like. Let's get all that. Oh. Pour. Make sure you get all the juices out of the pot. And this is what you're left with. Nice thick strawberry sauce. So we're going to add that, stir that into our custard, along with, now this is like my secret for this great tasting strawberry cheesecake ice cream. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons, which is 8 grams of crushed freeze-dried strawberries. So that's what it looks like, crushed. Now, typically I find they come in a bag like this. It's amazing. I never knew about them, and then I go to the grocery store. I find them in every grocery store. In this kind of, there's all different. Some, the grocery stores actually have their own brand, and all different fruits, blueberries and all that. And this is what they look like, just freeze-dried strawberries. It's just great to eat them just that way. And the flavor, strawberry flavor, is so intense. So this isn't really a lot, but it really pumps up that flavor of your ice cream, as well as the color. I'm just going to stir that in. Now, how do you crush your freeze-dried? What I do is I just put it in a plastic bag and you can use a rolling pin, or you got one of these meat pounders. That's how I do it. You could put it in your food processor, but why dirty another dish? And I'm just going to stir that in. Now, you don't have to, like if some people say, depending on where you live, maybe you can't find freeze-dried. You can buy them online, but actually that's a lot of times how I do it. But if they're not available, you can just leave them out and just stir that in. Now, like I said, the freeze-dried will add a lot of color too. And you know, the difference between homemade strawberry ice cream and store-bought, if you notice, if you buy store-bought, it's really pink. And really, you can't get that pink just from strawberries, fresh strawberries, or even the freeze-dried. So I think, I don't know, but I think they might add some food coloring. So if you kind of go, I want that nice pink color to my strawberry ice cream, you could add a little bit of food coloring. I won't tell. But, so this is the color. I'm happy with this color. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to pour this into a container, and we have to chill this down. Get it nice and cold. If you tried to put in like a hot custard into your ice cream machine, you know, it wouldn't get very hard. So what you want to do is really get this cold so that when you put it in your ice cream machine, you'll actually end up with ice cream at the end, like firm or kind of firm. So what I mean, you could do it for several hours. My preference is to chill this overnight. I want it really cold. So that's what I always do. Make my, my base one day, let it sit overnight, and then the next morning or afternoon, I churn it. So that's what I'm going to do. And when we come back, we will make our ice cream. So I've chilled my custard overnight. So now we are ready to churn our ice cream. Ice cream machines. There are all different types. The type I'm using is you have this canister and you put this into the freezer, and you want to do that a day, at least a day, maybe 2 days, get this really frozen. And I'm using a 2-quart, 2-liter ice cream machine. I like the bigger size. I used to have a smaller one. I like the bigger size because I find by the time, you know, this base gets warm, my ice cream's pretty firm. If you use a smaller one, typically your ice cream is a little softer, but either way, you're going to have to put it in the freezer. So just get that nice and cold, and then that. And what I'm also going to do while that's churning is take a container. I like to use metal and put it into the freezer and get it nice and cold. And that's what we're going to put our ice cream in once it's churned. So let's give it a stir. I'm going to turn it on. It takes typically, I would say, 25 to 30 minutes, or until firm, or until that canister gets warm, and then it doesn't matter how much more you churn. It's not going to get any firmer. So. We are done. It's been about 25 minutes, and it's pretty thick. I don't think it's gonna, as you can see, it's thick. That is why you want to make sure that you really get your canister, if you have this type, cold. Like I say, at least 24 hours in the freezer. You know, a couple days, probably even better. And then you want to make sure that your custard is really chilled. Normally I'd really fuss, but okay. To get all of it. Oh, it's, now if yours, depending, if you had a smaller machine, yours might not be like this thick. This thick, you could eat it right away. Which I'm going to try it. You know what? This is like super good. Better than you can buy, I'm just going to say. So what I'm going to do, if yours isn't as soft as this, don't worry, because I have my chilled container. I'm going to put it all in here and then just put it into the freezer and let it freeze in there. But anyways, I'm not going to show them. What you want to do is take all of it out. You don't want to waste any of that. And then once you have it all in there, take a piece of plastic wrap and press it right on the ice cream. And that will prevent any ice crystals from forming. And you can freeze this ice cream too. Although it never lasts that long, so I've put it in the freezer like 3 weeks on a rare occasion, because usually it goes pretty fast. So that is strawberry cheesecake ice cream. You must make it. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.